Hello there, YouTube, and welcome to Thursday, the 4th of December. It was 33 degrees this morning. It's 40 degrees now. I come walking out here, and Sasha had her front end in the go in your little house. Had her front end in the house, and me walking across the yard scared her, and she jumped back out. She's soaked. You got to go in your house because you freak out when we put you in the pen. She absolutely spazzes about being in that pen. She's in there her entire life. And since Christy and them came here, and I don't know if it's something to do with the cats or what, but she's obsessed with getting to them. Go in your little house. I know what she'll do. She'll sit right here on her little bench all day long. She wanted to come in the garage and hang out. Go in your house. You got a nice, comfortable place. Andy's tucked away in hers already. But welcome to the day. We're going to roll out. 42 degrees, and boy, oh boy, did it rain. The whole way.
That's so good.
And it was like twice as many semi-trucks as normal, which just makes it that much worse. You end up with that scum layer on your windshield because you get grease and diesel and Lord knows what comes off of those things.
Mm-hmm.
All the stuff that's underneath there. Well, Mama, let's head on in for a wet one.
All right.
Good thing we got a dry place to work. That's all I got to say.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. Okay, Mama.
You have a good day.
You do the same.
Thank you kindly.
Yeah, love you. See you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Well, you think it was slow before. Had this crazy rain, and it just turns dark out there. I know you can't hardly tell with that, but yeah, nuts. So, torque wrenches. A nice gentleman that watches the vlogs wrote me a nice little email, and maybe I didn't explain this well enough, but he sent me a thing talking about that these extensions. I thought he was talking about these extensions, but I think he's talking about these extensions. If you add that to this, you have to change. You can actually calculate the thing through here. I did that once, maybe twice, and yeah, it's a pain in the butt. But seldom, very seldom, do I ever have a need to go sideways like that. But there's definitely, you know, where you come into something, you got to bolt side. It's sometimes you need to do that, or you can't get a socket in there. So, number one, like I told you before, if you're at 90 degrees, you don't have to do anything. What the torque says is what torque is applied. If it's at 45 degrees, you have to calculate it. If it's straight out, you have to calculate it. So, I found, believe it or not, I have this little, I'm not going to show you because it's pretty bad. I have a little deal that's in my box. It used to be in my wallet when I was a kid on how to figure these things out. Another thing, which I told you before, if you use a straight extension, the torque access does not change on the wrench. However, if you grab a hold of this thing while you're torquing it to keep it from, from bending over, let's use something else here, to keep it from rocking, if I can, I just put my thumb. If it's a high torque, I just put the round ball of my hand so that my hand is just gonna rock with the end of this thing, just enough to keep that thing from tilting over. If you hold it in that way to try to keep it from tilting, you will affect the torque. Now, the same is when you put like a 45 degree on this thing. There's a calculation, and roughly if you end up, torquing in a weird angle, that's the only way you can get in, you kind of need to do the same thing with this. So, I took my little cheat sheet, I wrote this thing out, and I tried to make a little graph. So, what you do to calculate, we'll use this scenario where you're just going straight out. So it's the torque wrench length times the torque you're going to apply. In this case, I just picked 50 foot-pounds. I just using SAE because it's easier in my head, and this is literally a rewrite of a little wallet thing I did. So divided by torque wrench length plus the extension length. So in this case, and Snap-on's really nice with these things. They actually have a line. If you can make that out, there you go. Get the light just right. That's a line. That's the center point of your torque wrench. So when you're measuring the torque wrench, you need to measure from the center of your, like this one's a 3/8 head, to that line, which works out to be 13.5 inches. And I'll just go in a little bit here so you can see. You can see this. Oh, need to point the camera. Center line here, which is oh, I calculated it wrong. How did I measure that and get that far off? Oh, it's exactly 2 inches. Never mind. I don't know what I did. I thought it was 2.5 inches. So, length of the wrench, 13.5 inches times the torque, which is 50 foot-pounds. I'm going to say it in metric, so pardon me. That's not how I have it written out. I'm sure it all just applies in metric, but it's just easier. That's how I had it wrote in SAE, and it's a different torque wrench. It's a different length that I had on my little cheat sheet. So 675, and you divide that torque wrench plus the extension, which basically makes the wrench 16 inches long. And so you divide what torque you came up with here by the total length of the wrench and the extension. So 675 divided by 16. So the torque you're going to apply, your goal on the wrench, whether it's a clicker or digital, would be 42.19. And that's how you would calculate for going straight. Now, if you go at an angle, let's just pop this on here right quick. I probably don't have it straight. It's probably not 45. So what you need to do is center your socket or your extension, and you're gonna go from the center line down to your line. You have a perfect 9-degree angle. You come down, you measure that distance. So that becomes the distance of your extension. And I would imagine if you're doing some other weird, whatever angle it is, offset would be the same. So the closer to center, it's just going to get longer, and this calculation will come more to the same as it being straight. 90 degrees, absolutely whatever. If it's 50 foot-pounds, you torque it to 50 foot-pounds. So kind of do the same thing if you get in that weird angle with an extension or a wobble head or whatever. You're just going to come down, from the center, and just come down, and that'll be your length. That's what you need to change the torque to if you got this thing at a weird angle. Extensions, you can just stack these things up. I was watching a guy on a video because one of those things I've even got young guys upstairs that go, you can't use an extension on that, it changes the torque. That's the extension I was talking about. I refer to this as adapter. An adapter, which when it's all the way out, I guess that would be an extension at that point. But usually it's I'm getting in a weird place with something, and with very few cases have I not been able to get in there at a 45-degree angle. I showed you guys with remember the S1000 RR or the S1000 XR had the cam chain tensioner a recall on it. We had to replace it. Well, it's the bolt, the head of the tensioner. I don't remember if it was a cap, if the tensioner dropped in and you capped it, or the cap was part of the tensioner. I don't remember. the frame spur, you know, how it came around, it's on the right-hand side of it. You can get in there, underneath there, although you had the torque wrench upside down and backwards and you're going sideways. But you could get that in there at 90 degrees. So whatever the torque is what you apply. Nothing changes there. And the same when you use an extension, regardless of the length. And they've proven it over and over and over. This one guy I told you did a 6-foot extension. He had adapters. He was going from, 3/8 or, half inch to 3/8 down to quarter, back up. And he had all kinds of, that thing was linked up, and he had this little tray that held it, because obviously he's not going to be able to hold it still. And the torque was the same. And, and I've got one at home. It's a little square adapter. It's digital. It's half inch. I don't know if they make other size, but the only one I've seen. And Snap-on had one that was crazy expensive. Holy moly. Like, man, just sell me the actual torque wrench. But it's an adapter. It looks like a fat extension, and it has a LED reading on it. And, we've messed around. You just clamp it in a vise or something. And it's kind of a cheater way to see if your torque wrench is good. But the brand that I have, I don't even remember where I got it. I was actually testing it to see if my wrench would match what that said, because I didn't trust it. I actually got it because I could use another torque wrench instead of a great big long thing to get higher torques. Not a torque wrench, but a cheater bar. And you use, cheater bar with a pipe, it doesn't matter, because it's taking the torque where that square device reads it. But things half inch and, adapters and stuff, depending on what you're trying to torque. But, anyway, I need to look at that email again, and, well, maybe he doesn't want his name out there, but anyway, thank you, kind gentlemen. Maybe I explained this in an incorrect way. I thought I made it clear that if you're straight out, you have to calculate, and if you're 90, you don't. Any adjustment, you'll have to calculate for this. This will actually do it. Yeah, he even sent me a PDF. I think it's even for the same torque wrench. And I was looking at that thing, I'm going, yeah, I remember that, push, hold, push with it. It just, you know what? I got a calculator in my pocket. Tape measure's always close by. And you can do it really easy. But, this is a 2-inch. I don't know how I looked at that, but it was wrong. But same difference. Even if the thing is 4 inches, it doesn't matter. The math is the same. It's the torque wrench times the torque you're going to apply, divided by the wrench plus the extension. So, screenshot that or something if you want. Look at my sloppy handwriting there. Writing with an old Sharpie. Oh, I guess it wouldn't hurt if I hurt that towel, but I went right through that paper, didn't I? But anyway, I thought I'd clear that up a little bit. Explain a little better. This, my dad, when I got my tools stole, and I think that was probably in 84. I don't think it was 85, because in February 1st in 85 is when York Honda and Yamaha closed, and I boot scooted it down to Portland and got a job at Portland Honda. But that was in there. So there are no dates or anything on these things, do they? Maybe it does. Well, there's a patent number on it. But I thought that was the coolest thing ever. A chrome tape measure. Had that thing for absolute eons. Well, since I'm pretty sure late 84. Somewhere in there. It could have been late 84 because I had the race bikes in there. Because it was May of 84 that Kelly moved in with me. She, her and her mom had a little spat, and she says, I'm leaving and you can't stop me. I'm a legal adult. Anyway, took off I think it was like, I don't know. She lived up there maybe a couple of months. She was still going to high school, had to finish high school, so she was driving from Silver Lake all the way down to Kelso, and so we ended up finding an apartment over in Longview, and it was in the back of that apartment, but it was after a race. I think I want to say it was at Seattle, because that's such a, speed limit was 55 back in those days, and it's such a long drive that we just went home. And I thought, I'll be fine. It was Sunday night. Monday morning, I'm going to be at work. And so I left my tools in it was just thankfully, it was a small toolbox. But I had everything I need for the racetrack. And, that was my main, how your main screwdrivers and wrenches and ratchets and stuff all fit in that box. It wasn't that big. She was packed. That was my world, that little box. And anyway, my dad bought me, like I told you before, it got replaced because this one got knocked off. Bike or a dune buggy basically got knocked off, hit it flying, and it was the same height, exactly the same height, but this one was a little thicker because I remember there was, it had a little mini shelf right in front of it, so it was just not as deep. Same width, same height. I think even the drawers were arranged the same, but just they weren't as deep. They didn't. One they got damaged. Was the same thing, and somebody gave me this. They weren't using it, and he goes, "That'll fit right on your box." He goes, I guess he had a box like that, and he moved to a Snap-on or Mac, or I don't know what kind of box he got, but anyway, he had that old Snap-on thing and brought it in, and she's been on there ever since. That was sometime in the 80s. That was when I was still at Portland Honda. And on my own, I bought, almost a matching one. It was a little thicker than the box that my dad got me. And I've had that forever. And you can see no bearings. They just slide on there. I just lube it down with white lithium every once in a while. This one actually has bearings, but some of the bearings are, you can't see it from here. Some of the bearings have fallen out over time. Or is it a Snap-on? Which is a Blue Point. I think it's this one. This one, the little ball bearings are in little cages, and they were coming out. This is a Blue Point, which is the budget version of Snap-on stuff. Anyway, there we are. Another Torque Wrench Tech Talk. Man, not pretty out there today. This is something completely, I guess it's on subject. This is in 1986. And if you notice, you'll see the little sign that says special on it. Those were some Christmas banner things. Well, look what's sitting right there in the corner. That is a brand new Z50 RD. And I think this was right after Christmas, because there was a Christmas tree that was over by that. And you just seen those special signs everywhere. And somehow or another, those things got tagged the Z50 Christmas special. It was never, ever a Christmas special. Man, it's crazy. That's a blurry shot. I was actually trying to get a picture of the cashier. He was being silly, and because I was goofing around with the camera. This is at Portland Honda. This is going through the front door of Portland Honda. This is looking out the front door. McLaughlin Boulevard goes by out there. Look at all those old bikes. That's when the tariff on bikes over 750 cc's was going on, so those Interceptors were all 700s. There's the old 700 Nighthawk SC, SC. Yeah, there's an old Z50, and I thought it was an 86 when the three-wheelers got banned. I know there was none for 87. I remember they came through with trucks and took all the three-wheelers out, and Took them out to a crushing yard there over in North Portland and destroyed them all. And then later I met a guy that was into the junkyard stuff, and he was a guy running them, and he stole the engines out of all the two-strokes and stuff. He was a different kind of dude, that's for sure. This is Patrick O'Malley. He's the guy that hired me on February 2nd of 1985. And so for a short period, I worked in the parts department. He was the parts manager. He was like a year older than my dad. And man, the rides we went on, lots and lots and lots of rides. That's him back in the parts department back there. And if you had a Honda part you needed, it was in stock. We were a Honda dealer only, and he made sure he paid very close attention, which stuff wasn't in computers at that time. Well, we did have a computer. It was a it was just a thing that you hooked up through a phone thing, and it went through that way. And but you looked through the book, and I think you could run a report on that computer for fast moving parts and stuff like that. But yeah, it was in the book too. It showed in the parts book, would say what fast moving parts were and stuff. That was one cool dude. He was like a second dad, but more like a friend than anything else. Man, all the rides we went on, that's pretty crazy. Patrick O'Malley. This is back in the service department, and sitting right there is the toolbox that used to sit on top of that bottom box, and that's Mike Lexo. He was working one rack, like I think I'm standing on my lift taking that picture, and he was using one that was open, that was behind me further yet, and it fell to the left and hit my box and scattered everything everywhere. Well, hello there, YouTube. That was a very wet, and you could.
I see a dog moving.
Oh, being attacked. That's a very wet, very concentrated. I think the freeway was probably just slow because there was so much rain that just the traffic before us hadn't got flushed out. But anyway.
It's the evening.
Yep. Just a bunch of.
Tomorrow's another day.
Tomorrow's another day.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow's Friday.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yes.
But anyway, I think I've said everything that could be said for the day. So we'll roll at that.
Alrighty. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. We really do appreciate it. We will talk to you tomorrow. Same Smoak time, same Smoak channel. Don't forget to give a thumbs up. And you guys have an amazing Friday or Saturday.
Heck yeah. All right.
And we will see you in the morning.
Yeah, on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll see you then. Bye-bye now.